one clear counter to the Harbor. Again, if you're playing the Reyna on Ali, it was still going to be the idea of they're suspecting the walls and flashing across, but adding the Gecko to try to defuse with the Wingman. So you don't have to have players forced to run around the double walls and trying to just stick into a plant. You now have an extra player to help out, and you could fight as a group. And as they're already starting to fight as a group, 4 players behind the cascade wall looking to fight against Satellite here, who's just on the other side of the wall.
Oh, but there's a Gecko on the other side, ready to flash on the other side of that Harbor wall. But Ambrosia didn't even hesitate. He shot back and kind of ended up working out for the offense despite being surprised. Still got away with that orb. And I think, though, Mike Hope, though, we did both predict Winthrop. They went undefeated on Icebox ever since losing to Ambrosia. That's all I gotta say. One of them was an OT, though. I don't know how convincing. But Ambrosia, Pivot, Winthrop are on their tail. Now everyone's screaming on the other side of smokes. And it's not the safest plan, but you got Sova bells and whistles being thrown just to keep Winthrop busy. Infiltrator will be busy in spawn, and it's just moves in a 1 versus 3. While the rest of Ambrosia play through main, the wall drops, and Glyph gets the heads up.
And that's just small practice coming out here from the scrim hours of Ambrosia, making sure that if this happens, that you're going to play behind a cascade wall and nobody's really reacting yet. And also in the pistol round, you don't have that same protocol because you can't do the buy around the KJ to allow to get the nanoswarms on the top of pipes. Then you just have to make sure you assign 1 player to just break the dizzy or break any flashes, even when it was a Reyna for Ali to try to push through the wall. It's probably the same protocol as they had should they have played against Arena. Put somebody to break the flash, the other one watches the push towards the pipes, and they punish 2 players on top of that. So easily done on the side of Ambrosia to just prepare a good pistol.
Now Ambrosia now won both offensive pistols. Now just seeing and also hearing if Winthrop are going to be aggressive for that A orb. Now scaling off their own Viper wall. Ambrosia, sight lines open. First to peek, first contact. The Guardian from Satellite. All the way back through Snowman. High ground. Infiltrator spotted. And down. Ambrosia can ramp things up. See if they have enough fuel for a plant. But maybe realizing Winthrop are nearby, they may want to get a few more defenders down before going for that.
I just need Sean X to start activating a little bit more to confirm that there's nobody inside the A site. Now that he's moved all the way up to L, never saw somebody there, and already at the very beginning, 2 players swung out after Infiltrator died. They should already know that there should be maximum 1 player inside the A site. So they group up. We'll just make sure that they play the numbers. But taking this time, you're already seeing that they're given enough time for Winthrop University to start to rotate back.
There's the Harbor wall wrapping around. I love this position on screen from Satellite. And the backstab. The rest of Ambrosia just hose Winthrop down. And a flawless anti-eco at that is awesome.
Super clean. And I like it on the side of Ambrosia too. They didn't want to rush themselves to pull up the the Viper wall up to try to plant in a default spot. They just walked up, played the contact, tried to make sure here if they could snuff out any type of stacks. They ran it towards this B site, and everything just stays the same. So, again, you see the preparation coming out here from this side of Ambrosia. Coming out for Winthrop University with the Gecko is not necessarily like a, oh my god, what can we do this time around? It's just on the side of Winthrop. You're just maximizing util to play against these double walls set up from Ambrosia. But the protocol around both of the teams should kind of be around the same. So, I don't think they're going to overthink here how they want to play the attack for Ambrosia.
At least being more aware of that Harbor wall Gecko flash and realizing, okay, well, Ambrosia, they reacted well to that, but I don't know how many times they can pull that off, especially now that Winthrop has bought up. First dash, though, from Satellite. Needs to put Infiltrator and the rest of Winthrop in their place. They'll do so from the high ground, trying to overlook the Viper walls, the Harbor walls, and Ambrosia get all the space, but Nazi's different. Can't be shooting through that cove and gets a little distracted. The wraparound from Ambrosia solid, and it's a 2v2 on the post plant. Got sort of a high ground from Acreen, who's going to spot that first contact. Slash, oh, it doesn't even ping Acreen. It's his timing, and it's easy for Ambrosia.
Just so nice. Gambling that he crouches under, he's not going to get spotted by the Dizzy, and it didn't. So it surprises here Winthrop University because it doesn't ping anybody towards the left side of Maze. They didn't expect anyone there, and boom, peekaboo, double swing, and then 2 of them drop instantly. So again, just unfortunate on utilizing this util. I want to talk about that position right here. This is the second time now that Satellite has made his way on top of screens. If you're looking at how the tier 1 through MIBR have been running the harbor wall in very similar fashion to block out towards screens and the back of spawn, what they usually take though is just the top of 410. Satellite takes all the way towards screens to just block out the rotation from screens and from the top of heaven. So they have to try to knock him down first.
That timing is so unlucky from Satellite. That would have been the easiest kill. Well, easy-ish, you know. Jet dashes are tough sometimes. And, yep, Infiltrator's still there. Glad Glyph checked that in to give Flare the hands, too. You do what you can with Sheriffs. It is what it is. You did damage to Glyph. He's going to need a Band-Aid. Shockbolt. And wait! The volley, too! Nasi, you could never underestimate Winthrop when this guy is alive. The only thing that's his kryptonite is a planted spike, and that hasn't actually happened yet from the Ambrosia's side. So Winthrop are going to hold the line. He's pretty injured. And it's Ambrosia that can make first contact and now can make the approach with the Viper wall up. Onto his Fury too. Nasi can just play for that if they feel like that's worth investing. And man, the Outlaw, it's just as bad. He's got these lucky peaks, and oh, the shock bolt had him dancing. Well, he gets the diff in that regard. 30 seconds left. Ambrosia can keep testing Winthrop. Hunter's Fury. They said no more snowmans on Icebox, and he meant it. Man, Spike landed right in front of Winthrop, and almost the 1-2. That got scary. 4 in a
Hit
row.
him for the 145 as well for moves, though. If only the gap was a little bit slower, or maybe some pop damage done onto Welly, maybe it would have been doable. But I love the little adjustments coming out on that 2 versus 2. You went for the Hunter's Fury just to not allow here the player in the back of Snowman to flush out. You stick towards that plant, because that's your window of opportunity to try to get a plant down before Ali could actually move up with his teammate here to maybe even clutch that round. That said, moves out from his Hunter's Fury, plays towards yellow, covers the VIP planted down, and then they salvaged the round 2. So a bonus round converted, they win the anti-eco again, they're up by 4, and here's the up from Infiltrator on the top of pipes.
Ooh, Acreen getting pinged to low ground. Reckoning could easily flush out Winthrop. And they're going to have to get out of dodge and just allow this to go through. And this is really going to give up an important position for Infiltrator with the op. Drone is going to reveal Ambrosia are close. Hunter's Fury cares about the op. Nasi sends Ambrosia packing, but they're fine with that. Ambrosia has planted, and the Infiltrator op finds a gap. And now Ambrosia have to take a step back and watch through screens. This back door, though, that's the gap. And the defense is on the post plan for Ambrosia, watching through screens, through the window. Satellite says hello and disengages. Could have kept the rally going. And now this is an opening and advantage for Winthrop. Shock bolts, a lot of delay. But Nasi is out of bells and whistles. Infiltrator just has to play from the high ground, and Ambrosia can't do more about this.
Is nothing.
It's close.
It's close. Oh, 0.42. I had to just let the tension speak for itself. 5 in a row, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a plant in the open, and understanding here for the side of Ambrosia. Hey, it should have been a lot cleaner than expected, though, because you wanted those shots to hit. But if not for Welly to throw the double shocks, to do a little bit of pot damage, but on top of that, the harbor wall, the second wave to just isolate from the left or right. You're slowing down players walking through the wall, so it delays, like even that fraction of a second was good enough here to not allow Winthrop University to have the cleanest of swings to really overtake Ambrosia in their own positions playing outside of the site. Now trying to go a little bit more aggressively. We haven't seen too much mid control throughout this first half, so Infiltrator will try to guess it and try to walk through. There's not going to be any support to help him though, so he's going to try to swing off maybe a turret. But with this orb coming up, he might try to swing out from Jiggle.
Oh, Nasi's now going to get hunted. Deadly cutlery from Satellite's side. Winthrop just have to depend on moves to make this as difficult as possible, with Ambrosia taking the high ground. And actually, no, Satellite is playing around the Viper wall. 2 versus 4. Yeah, good luck. The only chance you have is a bunch of pistols. That could go kicking and screaming for Winthrop. Infiltrator is still the GOAT. Oh, that's good info from that Gecko. And a poke through the ropes. Oh my god, Moves holds it down at A.
Good two aggressive positions pulled up there by Infiltrator and Nasi. So as we just saw before the round started, Infiltrator is walking down towards Pipe, trying to play around Flair's util with that turret. But if not, it was just Nasi pushing all the way up towards Jail. When on the side here of Ambrosia, if I'm not mistaken, they've just been cascading on the front of the orb, not really adding more util behind that. So it just kind of caught them off guard that they didn't expect here a player to play towards that Pipes, and it really slowed down the tempo that Ambrosia was trying to take. Catching some players off guard, pop damage being done here with the Sheriffs, and they get a thrifty round. Much needed for their side here on defense. They have a chance to come back now with the economy allowing Infiltrator to get an op on a defense who was posted up on the front of the B main to start. Now he's going to rotate towards A, guessing here, second guessing that Ambrosia is going to late rotate back towards A after initial utility to sell a fake towards B.
Quiet push down as Ali to the first. Just so much good information. Being able to recollect your util too. And Ambrosia have to watch this yellow box, both sides, and they have an army to do so. It's not like Shondex is giving them the best alternate solution, not going as deep into A. He's watching the mid lockdown, but his turret could easily do that, so not much progress from Ambrosia, while Ali gets to just play catch with himself, throwing his Dizzy up and picking it up, throwing it up, picking it up. And there's also the KJ turret there, so the ball is in Ambrosia's court to make a move.
30 seconds left.
When exactly what they were doing, pivoting here, the op towards the A side. That's where Ambrosia is trying to do after the late lurk. But they also pulled up more rotates outside of the A site. You might have to be forced to play a retake no matter what. You only have two players here. The op, if it doesn't land.
You should run. These shock bolts make it so you can't plant safely, forcing the lockdown because it's 7 seconds left to plant, and Winthrop are risking being detained. And
No plants.
this lockdown is still going to go through. No plant. It ended up being a risk worth taking for Winthrop.
I don't know what happened there. That should have been a little bit cleaner for Ambrosia to move through. Like I said, when they moved in towards this A site, but they sold all of that util towards B. Yes, even though Winthrop University read it correctly to still put Infiltrator towards the A site, they still played a weaker site on that area, in that area, because you only had Infiltrator with an op, and I think Nasi there playing on the top of the balcony. So you're basically going in a 5 versus 2 with 8 seconds left, or 15 seconds left on the clock. Shondex should have thrown that lockdown maybe a little bit earlier. They should have rotated back maybe a little bit earlier as well to take full value of the lockdown. But they were not in position to really prevent and protect the planter trying to get the open plant once again. Even if double shock darts doesn't fully kill the one planting into the bubble, because you shot the bubble and you broke it, they were just afraid that somebody's going to drop in with the last seconds remaining, and you just ran the clock down to 0 and not give yourself a chance here to really get it down. So a thrifty into this round is going to hurt the econ a lot from Ambrosia, which is why King Fred's already pulling once again another timeout. Look at the econ. They got nothing left when it was already 5-0 in the beginning.
Just mad respect for Winthrop also they still haven't used a timeout at all this series. They must be really good at talking throughout these games and being locked in. I don't know, or they just really believe in their next move, and breaking that economy, as you said, is all they needed to do.
Standing ahead.
Ambrosia, it's not the first time they've met difficulties with this Gecko, the Viper Molly, everything, preventing them from planting. Oh my god, jump scare satellite. Met the horror that is this Gecko, trying to pressure this Gecko that's been sitting in this yellow box. It flashes up and down as it tries to be a cut through mid. Mildly successful for Ambrosia, but you are going to get backstabbed with your glyph, so I can appreciate changing things up for Ambrosia, but this Gecko anchor is a problem for Ambrosia.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an eco that you have here for the side of Ambrosia, trying to push and surprise, as you've just mentioned, the person playing solo towards this B side. When you've overcommitted to throw the molly down, you're hoping to catch the Gecko before he pulls out his weapon, but Ali just gets that swing, puts the crosshair placement right in the center of the bubble of that smoke. Right over here. Instant kill. Headshot onto Satellite. You've done some damage at least on the side of Ambrosia. You kind of wish you had the plant coming down as well, because that would have potentially helped you to cycle up some more ults, but we'll hold that thought and push once again towards the belt, and Infiltrator gets that pick on the Satellite.
And Satellite really suffering getting first blooded, but that's the sacrifice that Jet players need to do sometimes, and it gives you the information of, oh, Winthrop are close. Go and trade it. And the Reckoning gets invested as Winthrop wanted to hold that line. Their sight lines are cut off, though, and they want to keep this off as safe as possible. Infiltrator is the ace up Winthrop's sleeve, and they cut the lockdown, too. And Ali keeps Ambrosia from feeling safe. And a couple more seconds before Detains will come through, and Ambrosia tried to fight against it, and they'll just barely escape. They wanted to prevent the defuse, and the Viper's Pit's invested, too. A lot being thrown from Winthrop, but at a distance. Ambrosia just win? Wow.
I thought Glyph, after he got caught off guard, dropping down towards that left side, it was already over, because that pit would have been huge for them to play into the full plan. But looks like they identified this lockdown being thrown up by Flare. But as they were falling back, Shondex couldn't even get the nanoswarms on top. How the hell did it still break it towards the end or still avoid the radius and still get these kills right on top? Look at how close he was.
One enemy remaining.
The body literally falling at his feet. But yeah, like a lockdown, a pit, so much from Winthrop. Ambrosia post timeout, able to get back on their feet.
Ooh.
Infiltrator will get to run away after that, and Ambrosia were not quick to run after that.
Here.
Still got the wall damage done though onto Satellite, keeps him pretty low. So this is twice now that Infiltrator, ooh, with the op is trying to move forward to get a pick.
Oh. Okay, Shondex doing a bit of rock climbing. Everyone gets their steps in from Ambrosia, just not wanting to play this stalemate, this back and forth. Really taking a risk, getting aggressive, even with the initial damage that you pointed out. Now with these harbor walls in place, it's not going to be the easiest approach. And Flare's waiting for moves. You're not going to have time, so Flare has to go sicko mode. And what gives Glyph a haircut? Has so many angles to watch, and now his position revealed, not having time to rotate through screens, and just has to try and isolate. And just from the low ground, Shondex clips him and moves his late to the party. And no fun left to have, so he's going to have to save the Vandal.
But Flare should have saved his weapon a long time ago when all of Winthrop University already got dropped like flies all the way towards the A site. Keeping these two rifles would have been super important going into the next. Infiltrator doesn't have his Blade Storm yet. So if they do want to try to go for some sort of trap play with the Hunter's Fury, with the ults that they have around, it would have been so nice to have a second rifle to work with. Now they probably have to go into a game plan to maybe take some orb control towards B, because A site is not as easy to take with the way that the Ambrosia has been cascading these pushes on that side. So you're already seeing Infiltrator moving over towards that end. Oh, actually, never mind. Looks like they're just forcing around it with half shields. But the previous round, no matter what, was just an unlucky one on the side of Winthrop. You still were just looking to get some op kills from Infiltrator, and he missed some two important ones, and that just gave the timing there for Ambrosia to just pop everybody down.
This is not the most insane lead out of Ambrosia, especially not against Winthrop, because they're the fake comeback kings, at least in this series. But don't let your dreams be memes, Winthrop. And Infiltrator won't have the op this round, and it's fine. You were kind of getting walled off anyway. This yellow box control still favors Winthrop. Ambrosia just have been really stuck having to constantly go A because they haven't found a winning strat to break the defense on B.
Yeah, now you just get everywhere. Minute mark, probably wouldn't be surprised here if Nazi's going to start droning to see if anybody else is pushing towards B main. But that Hunter's Fury, the more that as that clock dwindles down, it's going to be easy for him to rotate, play back towards that spawn and support here with the Hunter's Fury. Already heard some noise towards that A side. He rotates back. But there is a small insert in the pipes from this Viper from Glyph.
And he just heard this Sova run across, so this window now that it's there, okay. Catches Flare. Now it's all up to moves. They haven't checked yellow box, and Welly needed to shut that down, but at least it's traded by Acreon. And you'll have the spike down planted. Down sounds bad, but planted. Oh, wait. The deny from Nasi. Oh, and it still gets planted. And Acrian tried to climb and could not climb high enough or fast enough. Shondex still has the lockdown. You got the pit active. The shock bolt. Try to get Ambrosia scurrying away, and on the perimeter, Ambrosia hold it down, but there's no pit obscuring both. It's Shondex against the world being two people, but Nasi, he's an one-man army in itself. I guess Wingman's here too. And Winthrop start to close the gap.
A mistake coming out from Glyph. The pit doesn't even cover that spike. He didn't even break that recon that was thrown inside that pit, so it pings him and he gets easily taken down. And you kind of needed that pit to stay up, so you could actually leverage Shondex's lockdown. The idea around there was sacrificing the planter. It doesn't matter that he gets pinged. He avoided the first beam, so you guarantee the plant at least. But during that moment, Shondex went to go pick up the lockdown, which was going to be the next piece to run that clock down and give a chance here for Ambrosia to be the close out on that round. And because you get picked off here by the recon dart, you can't really throw the lockdown because you can't run the clock down with two players running you down. And now you move into the last round here of the half, thankfully still with some money and these two ults to work with that should have been used in our previous round.
Yeah. And the cascade didn't go deep enough, but Yellow Box. You have a deeper Viper wall too, really sealing in the site. It's Ambrosia. Need to find some contact as well. Hunter's Fury. Not gonna get any pings. Winthrop playing as far back as possible. Trader even have as a judge, but that's not gonna be anywhere useful. You have the Reckoning on offense. You still have a lockdown in your back pocket for Ambrosia, but at a distance, through the smoke, through the fire and the flames, Winthrop haven't given up on this defense, but the lockdown may just seal them out, and Winthrop get away with a 5-7 half.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the basis now of this composition that should have been over on the side of Ambrosia to start here. And the counter that came out from Ali with this Gecko, it wasn't really the Gecko that made the whole difference at this point. It was Infiltrator with the op to start things off. Moobs trying to find some good value into these positions that he's playing towards yellow that he's able to stall well enough. And when you're trying to bubble plant the way that you are, they're just in great positions to break that right away and not really allow Ambrosia to play these post plants as cleanly. And when they do, there's still some small fumbles coming through. So you're going to have to say here in the last 4 rounds, even though 2 of them went on the side of Winthrop University, there was still some slip-ups here that allows here Winthrop to come back. Some slip-ups from Ambrosia is what I'm trying to say, sorry, that allows Winthrop University to come back.
Are they the real comeback kings or the fake comeback kings, though? I don't know.
It's fake. We saw the last map.
Yeah, I know. We have a sample size of 1. I've made my conclusion. So, Winthrop, though, they were able to take the second half pistol last map. Their offense has always been their better half. This is the Ambrosia playground, but this is Moobs with first blood after all. His lurks always lethal. They always got you on your toes. And Ambrosia now have to cover the gaps that were left there by Shondex.
I mean, because they lost Shondex, I mean, you lost all that information on middle. So look at how passive you are on the defense. You're giving up sights on both ends. This is going to be an easy plant no matter what. You're just trying to fight back on your flood retake with weapons, with pistols. Need your shots to land now on the defense.
Woohoo! Duels being won from the Winthrop side, but Ambrosia can make the comeback happen themselves, and it's Satellite that has to go crazy, but moves to something else. How is he just in the defender's spot? He goes anywhere he wants.
Yeah, they'll need to shut him down. That duel, I think it's their responsibility. I mean, they were trying to highlight Shondex at the desk too, who had a pretty good first map as well for Ambrosia with the ace over on Sunset previously. But when you're playing Shondex versus Moobs, it is pretty much even Steven in terms of the firepower that both of these players bring. And it's going to be a mind game, a responsibility that they have against each other to create that space. Especially for Moobs on the attack for Winthrop University to start to surpass here, the comeback on the attack side.
Ooh. The Outlaw, there's only one sheriff in town, but man, these bandits, they're coming in up close. Infiltrator just dashing or just using the wall to his advantage. And Ambrosia try to pressure him and they walk right into Moobs. The MVP of the last round. Winthrop with pistol now with AMP Eco slowly going their way. We're looking for the equalizer very, very soon, unless Shondex can make up for the early losses last round. And man, this is one sturdy jet. The plot armor is real from the collegiate boys. And it's Welly in a 1 versus 3, especially an outlaw that's still involved. This is so cooked.
How the hell did Infiltrator stay alive? Got dinged twice.
Yeah,
Dinged
right?
twice by a classic at that range, and probably as some of them went through the wall where you still survive at 45, though. That's crazy. That said, try and do some econ damage on that side. We're hoping to do a little bit more so you could add those extra credits. So you could get util around full armors, because you know the outlaw is coming out here in this third round of the second half.
One enemy remains.
Saw a couple of them buy full shields already before we saw these replays, and it looks like it's going to be pretty decent. All of them with full shields, but you're looking on the side of Shondex. No nanoswarms, only one on the side of the A site. So it shows how much it was a pain right now to deal against an outlaw, especially when an infiltrator wields it on the attack side as a jet.
Oops is gonna do it again. It ain't broke, don't fix it type beat, but I don't think Ambrosia fall for this again. Don't challenge Kitchen again. They'll just leave the turret for him. While Winthrop, he can play the distance, the ranged game, but his high ground, this tower may not get checked until... What? That should have been a Moobs kill. What the heck was that? What? That should have been a Glyph kill. What is going on? But Winthrop will still get a plant. At least the clock could be on their side, and they're still trying to escape from Ambrosia, ready to peek, but the drone got them info, but Ambrosia got pinged on their side as well, trying to see how close Winthrop are. One away from the Hunter's Fury. Well, Welly really needs to open things up well, as Winthrop are not going to waste any time, and Nasi won't be able to sneak up on Ambrosia, not this time. Still with the Bulldog at range. This is huge for Flair to keep this fight protected. And it's Ali that's the spam through. Okay, it's not going to be the full defuse for Ambrosia. It's halfway being held this time. Ali has the repeat and can't do anything about it except farm some orbs. And Ambrosia back in the lead.
That's where it gets annoying to play against the retake with the orb still around. At least they still have a pretty decent composition for Winthrop University to add more stalls, because you're looking at shock darts for Nasi. You're looking at a snake bite for Moobs, who also should have had that pick, as you mentioned, right over here. Nice little turnaround from Glyph for that pick. But nonetheless, you still have nano swarms on top of that. The mosh pit was the only thing that was thrown on this post plant because everybody else died. So it's important here for Winthrop University to continue to scale forward the way that they are, but to keep those players alive so that you can have the strongest of stalls and run the clock into your favor.
Orb grabbed from Winthrop. Ambrosia heard that, and they got Acre and Beacon with the Guardian too, and we know how scary that can be. Hunter's Fury, though, begins from the defense to get Winthrop scurrying away in its first blood as the Thrash looks for a lockdown on someone in the back line. Good information as Infiltrator leads the charge. Now Moobs dances, but there's too many angles from the defense side. And Winthrop are running out of gas in the tank and wind in their sails, and it has to be Wingman that does the job of a player to plant. And it's okay. It's Infiltrator that can't hold this position. And Ambrosia start their retake, and it's Flair that just has to play safe and play time. He's dropped down and he's found. And it's Ambrosia building a 2-round insurance plan.
You see the differences between Winthrop University and Ambrosia in all of these fights. For Winthrop, it's just Infiltrator, open it up for the team and giving them a chance to scale through. Although it is difficult because you already lost a couple of players thanks to Welly's Hunter's Fury on the defensive side. But when they're playing for these swings, for these fights, Winthrop only has one every single time that overpowers their opponents. That's Infiltrator right here, as you can see. But then look at the other ones. Always another one coming right out for an instant trade. The high-low that you just saw in that swing. It was just really nice and well dialed down, or dialed up here by Ambrosia.
Don't overthink it.
And that's just the amount of reps that they're getting. Staying with this team, going with the amount of practice rounds that they have, and now looking to potentially eliminate Winthrop University from the playoffs.
Ooh, big duelist matchup. Satellite wrapping around, could catch Infiltrator, but doesn't want to peek yet. Satellite is just not as aggressive as Infiltrator, and he's there solo, so maybe I don't blame Satellite as much. And Ambrosia don't want to give up this lead, and Glyph will hold mid down, not let Winthrop take any creative angles to catch Ambrosia by surprise, not like Moves did before. Now you adapt to Moves, or Moves will put you down, and Flare isn't going to get lucky on A. It's a deep search, and Winthrop can follow through on his footsteps. It's Infiltrator going down mid, and catches like a Sova mid-util or something, checking things out. Winthrop get a plant. But man, 2 versus 5 with Vandals on the other side. It's not impossible, but it's not good. Wait, the fadeaway from Nazi's kind of crazy. Shondex stops him. Ambrosia stopped them. And they'll get up to double digits.
We'll take that. Sheriff round for the son of Winthrop University. They'll get a plant down. Even the safest of plants just to get the econ up. And trying to build up, of course, another thrash in the hands of Ali, who's halfway. And I'm not too sure what happened there for Moves. How was he still able to get through orange? Usually that turret being placed on that ledge should have spotted him. Unless it did, and that's why Glyph kind of just jumped down and picked him. But I didn't really hear the turret get it sounded out. Thankfully, the read was there. Gets that backstab kill, and the rest is history. Not really much you could do here for Winthrop, as they're just spread across the map trying to cut rotates with the Sheriff's upgrades into some weapons, and he won't be able to. Now Ambrosia reaches double digits and are trying to fight back here for control into the A site, cutting down the rotates, cutting down vision, and allows Ambrosia to push down aggressively here to take full control of the A site pinch.
And Moves is one away from the Viper's pit too. Hunter's Fury, Winthrop have a solid chance this round, but the lockdown early from Shondex, he's thinking about it and hesitates with how close Winthrop are. They would expect Winthrop to fight against that lockdown, and he wants to at least get a pick for the defense, and he's the one that gets picked. Oh, that's unlucky. Reckoning is always a good backup plan, and Akrian waits for it to get planted. Now Winthrop will distance themselves away. Infiltrator will still be inserted forward, but this flank from Satellite is going to cause more problems. He has some Killjoy util to get through. The spike is halfway. Winthrop put their sights forward. They don't let Ambrosia get away with crime. They don't care about Satellite's flank.
It was a nice try. Satellite did an excellent job smoking himself out. So as they went for that timing first, he smoked himself out, crosses over towards that back. Then you finally have the ult here from Akrian to try to push the players back from Winthrop University. But they couldn't pivot on that side. Look at Satellite pulling up to rotate after that. And you're trying to fight within that site. And they just couldn't get that buddy system ready on that side to fight the 3 versus 3 in the front of the A site. And Winthrop University is able to survive into that pulse plant.
Look up the Shondex lockdown. It's a long-term investment. Oh, man, that Jet got helped by the Gecko flash there, and hey, even a first blood. These duelists really are making or breaking these rounds, and Glyph can make or break this cutoff if he keeps going. Oh, there's kind of a ring around the rosy with the Vipers. Wingman, oh, the spike is dropped at a nasty spot, and Nasi's at the front to keep this going. Dashing forward is Infiltrator. The flank is developing. There's 2 Vipers joining each other's side.
Oh.
Thought he was just trying to make friends. I thought he was just trying to make friends.
Friends to traders with the backstab and a knife. And that, I mean, look at the econ after that for Ambrosia. You're seeing what's coming out here potentially is going to be, I thought I was going to mention a tilt buy, but everything's quite nice. Satellite still has Blade Storm to work with. They have Lockdown and Pit. This is going to be the most important swing round that you currently have here for Ambrosia if they want to maintain this lead in this series and potentially close out that map. It's pretty even Steven from ult to ult. And if you want to look at the chess pieces, yes, a pit is still available on the side of Glyph, but that could get easily countered out by a Thrash here that can clear him out. So you can't expect here for Glyph to play solo B site, holding out that spot with a pit. Or if he drops it towards that 410, there's still too much util coming out and players on the side of Winthrop University that can really push you down. So I think it's up to Satellite at this point with the Blade Storm. Trying to get those opening kills, trying to find those surprise kills that Infiltrator was able to do at the very beginning of these rounds for about 2 of them when he was taking control of that belt to give a chance here for more, to get more value out of the ults remaining on the side of Ambrosia. Yeah, that was annoying to watch. Not annoying in a sense that If I was in their shoes,
Yeah.
I would hate for that to happen to me.
It's just like an enemies to lovers arc, okay? You start out as enemies, you know, I'll recommend you some books. But Winthrop, meanwhile, they've always stayed close at the end of the finish line. I mean, it was a 7-3 lead for Ambrosia. They can't choke this now. Ambrosia loves their map 3, so I don't doubt it. Satellite first blood is huge. As Winthrop has to follow up. They'll catch maybe the Sova mid-drone bouncing away. Winthrop caught Ambrosia fumbling. This is not a round you can afford to lose if you're Ambrosia and you go for the Hail Mary with the lockdown. The plan is going to go through. It's here and now, and the pit is used to protect Winthrop one last time, and Shondex's hesitation is going to cost, but a 1v2 is not impossible. Now that he's close by, he has time.
But you till
just using the turret as a meat shield, thinking they're on the tower. It's not the right read. There, Ali has no util, just like kind of faking that he does. Shock pulse, Nasi has the delay, and it's the double swing, and the equalizer for Winthrop.
everything worked perfectly at the beginning. Again, leveraging Satellite to get the first blood, gets a beautiful pick, dashes away. Where is the rest of the communication to look towards the left side? Well, he gets caught into his drone.
Out of charges.
I think that was infiltrated, moved forward and caught 2 of them. And that's Acreon down. That's another one down. The economy's broken and you can't get any value of the lockdown on top of that because everybody else is just scrambling, trying to move forward. Look at that. The first pick, low HP on the second one. A labored kill from Shondex, but nobody is just winning their fights after that slight miscommunication on the side of Ambrosia. A chance now for Winthrop University to push this into a third map.
Could be the case. Ambrosia went to map 3. Every single match except 1. I just wasn't expecting them to possibly drop Icebox because they are undefeated, including winning against Winthrop. So, kind of crazy. We'll see. Winthrop now really slowing things down after kind of the spaghetti got on the floor last round. Try to get the mop out, thrash Alley, and just help pressure this back line. Got some movement out of Ambrosia. The first trigger pulled by Winthrop. The spike won't actually be planted. Wingman fired as Ambrosia hold the back line. And with the pit in place, at least Winthrop got the spike just barely, and they'll have to escape. What is Moves up to? Not again. Gonna cut this off. And Winthrop are going through mid to reunite with Moves, thinking he put the red carpet down, and met by some challenges from Ambrosia, who are still in mid, and Nasi puts down both! The hero! The last one in the conga line, and it's Winthrop that's still plant, and it's Welly that would have to pull off our first clutch of Icebox. It's a good start. Isolating the one. It's on a high ground to his left, and Moves has been injured. Still, Welly has to lock in where the spike is planted. They wouldn't be playing through main. They'd have to be around mid. They'd have to be around this high ground, and it's going to be so hard to push that now that you're pinged and you're on the low ground. So Welly will get their attention. We'll get the spike halfway. I thought he was going to say YOLO and hold it. 11 HP. Moves feels like the job is done, and Welly still crawls around. And Nasi had such a pivotal round for Winthrop.
Winthrop almost let that slip, just like Ambrosia did on that previous round. So many players got backstabbed and shot here by Sheris in the back, but what really saved them was Glyph pulling out his pit. They wanted to leverage that to cover that spike that gets dropped down, but as the smoke kind of spreads out and the fog spreads out, it blocks their own vision and gives a chance here for Winthrop University to pick up the spike and run away. That's just unfortunate timing onto that one, but thankfully they've done at least some econ damage and also allowing Satellite to get an operator into this round. That said, some very important ultimates still available from Winthrop, especially with Flare now getting his lockdown activated. Satellite already used his dash, so they won't have too much here to hold this double ult that can really get that space for Winthrop University towards this A site.
Thrash, lockdown. What you got up your sleeve, Ambrosia? Well, Satellite with the op, but Winthrop are gonna pivot thanks to all this clearing from Moobs. He has been the X factor for Winthrop in terms of his lurks in the desk highlighted. how important he has been. And I'm looking forward to also statistically comparing him to Shondex later on. Whether we go to map 3 or not, though, depends on Ambrosia's upcoming move. What Shondex can do. He's got the read. When does he want to pull the trigger on the lockdown? Well, they'll have to dodge this darn thrash that's going in deep with Infiltrator, who's gonna deny 2 from Ambrosia, and he's not done yet until Satellite with the op, and Shondex here. Lockdown ensues, but attacking one as well. This is just a no man's land. And Ambrosia are caught right in the middle of it, but they could easily disengage. They tap the spike. They get Winthrop to peek, and Winthrop have a safe peeking angle around this yellow box. But with vision being obscured, it's Ambrosia. The clock is against them. They're taking damage from across the way. The wave drops, and it's Nasi with these multi-kills. He is insane. But Akrian with no HP, a hope and a dream. Can he even escape? He will. And keep this rifle with what Ambrosia have left. Winthrop will go to match point.
Just very nice there on the side of Winthrop University on a post plant. So delaying enough to just not allow the Cove to get any value on the defuse. Gets the player right off the defuse, and then as the wall blocks their vision, they just break the Cove. So there's no way for Ambrosia to really move in for the defuse after, because everybody's out in the open. And speaking about out in the open, how the hell does Infiltrator, I mean, it's part of his name, but he's always made it into the site to get 1 or 2 before he gets discovered. This should not happen when Ambrosia, we've been talking about how good they've been into the buddy system in mid-Poland. Solo plays coming out from a duelist on the side of Infiltrator. Yeah, maybe a recon dart to help him out, but he doesn't need anybody to help him trade. He's always getting 2 before he falls.
2 Vandals from the Ambrosia side. This walk-up from the 2 controllers. The flash on the other side. Winthrop caught off guard. Glyph
No way.
with 3. That is insane. And the harbor wall to cover their tracks. But Glyph is injured and he's going to need a band-aid. And Winthrop, though, they need a game plan because they only have 2 left and they got to grab the spike.
And that's the silver lining. Throwing that cascade kind of blocks their own vision, so it gives a chance here for Winthrop to repick that spike up. You just got to wait that clock, and the other positive aspect is that they still have a minute to work with. So if you're able to get these type of lurks, especially when Moves is still alive, this gives them a chance here to still narrow down the numbers, break that util, force these rotates, and try to get those hero plays now on the side of Flare and Moves.
What a round from Glyph, too. With how low Ambrosia are with credits, it's
30
fine.
seconds left.
This is going to be the last round of regulation again, just like Sunset. It was Ambrosia that crossed the finish line, but they had the advantage going into that, so Winthrop would have to pull off quite the upset in this round, and Akrian pretty much has sealed the deal ×2. Flawless is really going to hurt Winthrop.
As you talk about low economy for Ambrosia, you still had so much for Winthrop University, so you respect here the push and attempt on that 2 versus 4-5 to really try to drop some more players, force the players to come against you, and you wouldn't have given your opponents the best of buys going to the last round. But as they get the flawless, that's 3,000 credits across the board. Look at those picks from Glyph. 5 Guardian kills for the side of Ambrosia, allowing the whole team to upgrade except for Glyph.
Oh, it's definitely going to hurt the morale of Winthrop, but they are just tilt-proof after what I've seen today. Hunter's Fury right through the lane, gets a strike. And Winthrop need more than that, though. Because even the Reckoning is going to slow things down. Winthrop has to pivot. What is Moves up to? And I'm questioning it because it's awesome. These lurks, how does he keep getting away with it? He's about to maybe backstab Satellite. No. Resilient as ever is the duelist of Ambrosia as they race to support Shondex.
Out of charges.
Winthrop have the spike planted soon. You have Nasi has to hurry on the flank if he wants to help, because now 2v2 within the site. The spike is not planted. Wait, this could be a fumble. The timing is pristine from Ambrosia. They'll jump on the spike. Nasi has no time to waste. 2 shock bolts, a recon, and Satellite with just the earlier call.
You just wish Moobs was able to get one more here to really give a chance for Winthrop to push this across the finish line and force this starter on Haven to see who moves forward and who gets eliminated. But you have to give your flowers to Shondex on a solo hold as well. 4 players moving up towards him, and just his utility is so good. The fact that he placed the first nano behind the wall to stop here the wingman from planting, and always keeps the second one on his back so that no util breaks it right away. Throws the second one to delay even more. Give a chance here for Ambrosia to even rotate across and just win the fight towards the end. Nasi stayed alive but couldn't win a 1 versus 2. And now we're going in the extra innings. Everything gets reset here as Ambrosia is back on the attack.
Good point. Yeah, these wingman's not been able to successfully plant too often. Ambrosia just too good. Now droning up. The issue that Ambrosia met before was Ali anchoring yellow box. He's able to pop flash, pick it back up. Ambrosia have a window, of course, to be aggressive against this Gecko, but you just never know who else is supporting this Gecko. So Ambrosia just don't want to take any unnecessary risk.
This is a fake here, so as the second Dizzy gets thrown up and you have this wall cutting down towards mid, you're trying to sell a fake that you're trying to add some pressure on this mid take on the side of Ambrosia. So Ali's looking at that spot. Now he's out of position.
Oh, but okay, the flash gets shot down. Ali, tries to dip through all the smokes. And Ambrosia won't waste any time. They get the hunt down. Winthrop are looking like prey. They start to coalesce what's left of Winthrop and moves with a big opener on the retake. Keeps the odds even. Almost spot to cross there from Infiltrator. He gets low. Ambrosia can't punish. It's Shondex in a 1v1 against Nasi. He just heard the drop down. It's Nasi with the knife. The silent walk around. He's gonna get the backstab. And Winthrop with the first round of OT.
Back to work.
That's simple as that. Good takes coming through to pull Ali away at the very beginning for Ambrosia's position. But the retake came down to a full brawl in the front of that B side on the rotate. And just a couple of whiffy shots on the side of Ambrosia. You saw a couple of them when you caught some players off guard, but just couldn't capitalize on the kill. You pay the price. Pay the price and your backs are against the wall once again and giving a chance to your opponents to push this into Haven. Cerebral play coming out from Nasi on that 1 versus 1. Knife out to break that timing against Shondex, who's on the top of the scoreboard. Both of the players on that 1v1 on the top of the scoreboard for their respective teams. They just need the other ones to try to help out a little bit more here to close that or to push this into a second OT.
Whoa, the hop by right through the B main push, and Winthrop try throw a Hail Mary through mid, and it's not working out. Winthrop didn't even get to develop any plan. Ambrosia pushed up halfway through the map and just annihilated Winthrop.
It's so funny. I feel like this plan was drawn out from Ambrosia just to try to shut down moves at the very beginning of these rounds, because he's always finding these timings throughout the whole map. On middle, moving up on pipes, orange, backstabbing players when they're rotating back towards A to B, B to A. They're okay, well, let's just focus 4 players to try to take down moves, and then we'll figure out the rest, and then boom. The rest of Ambrosia comes through, and they're just playing duck hunt. 1 down, 2 down, and I guess Ambrosia just overthought that round. Overcooked and allows here, or Winthrop, sorry, overcooked that round, allowing Ambrosia to tie up this game, bring up to a second OT.
Revealing area.
Defenses ring true. No recon. As Ambrosia set their sights forward with the cascade. Winthrop aren't going to press their luck through B main quite yet. Nothing through mid. It's an absolute stalemate.
Interesting too how Ambrosia always goes for just recon darts to take control of information on pipes, never going for nanoswarms to get any aggressive positions out. So you're just trying to push and pull on both sides. Cascade, now the owl drone. You're hoping some players are going to move over. Actually, owl drones are being used by Welly, but you're just trying to push them back towards the A side as the rest of Ambrosia have just been waiting for that 1 minute pivot to start walking up into contact. But Infiltrator's still in a great spot on the top of streams.
There's Nasi too with a recon, and what an opener. Duelist supremacy on Winthrop's side. Looking for the round advantage in overtime. I think the last time they went to Icebox, it was an OT win too. We'll see
30
if the
seconds
pass
left.
repeats itself as Ambrosia sealing the site. Look at all that information for Infiltrator to keep on knocking down Ambrosia. And even while the walls are up, Ambrosia were closer than expected. Winthrop could prevent the plant, and it's up to Ali. The slow walk up, but it's actually planted on the high ground. Ali still waves goodbye to Acreon. And it's Welly on the post plane with the Hunter's Fury, but he's not playing distance away. He's just getting the double swing, but can't confirm the second. Ali wins it for Winthrop.
That was so close. They lined up for that one as well.
Yeah.
But man, trying to push forward, just these moments where you think you have the shots against your opponent is just not hitting. There's nothing else to add on to that. I think both teams are playing some very good Valorant within the last few rounds of trying to snuff here where the lurks could be coming from, where the fakes are. That was probably the biggest mistake, though, as you just saw here in this replay. Nobody's shooting that dart, picking out two players and catching Glyph, trying to go for the plant over on the top of the A site. And now you're seeing that both teams kind of really struggling on their attack side so far in this overtime to get some value, when it's been a strong point for both of the teams throughout the whole map.
Just being in overtime really changes the whole situation. The turret not gonna ping satellite. Okay. Killing the Slurk still be valuable for Ambrosia if that's all they expect to be here. The spike down. The satellite disengages, doesn't want to be too aggressive and leave Winthrop an opening to bulldoze down the defenses of Ambrosia. That's where Ambrosia have shined in the past. Now they wait at the back line to see if Winthrop are going to pivot or not. With mid-vision, Ambrosia know Winthrop have to commit. It's satellite is still in the sky. The king of the op. And Winthrop have to recollect the spike and discover where this op has repositioned to. And it's not going to be easy for Winthrop in a 3 versus 5. They are going to be allowed to plant, as Ambrosia are going to be charitable with how much space they're given. Moves. So is a Molly, of course, and Ambrosia can rotate around because of this cove. And there's the aggressive peek from Shondex. A big 2. He rolled the dice and cut it at 20. Ambrosia even things up.
Nice retake towards the end for Ambrosia, and you have to give your praise here. An unsung assist by Glyph on the top of the pipes to break the turret, so that not only do you force players to look on the top of pipes as he's trying to run away, but it gives the free pick there for Satellite, who was waiting at the bottom of the nest the whole time. He saw the turret being deployed. He needed to call for Glyph to break that out and for him to get that first blood. Everything and the rest is history. Infiltrator continues to anchor up that, Satellite continues to anchor up that A site quite well, and then Shondex on that retake, continuing to light up the scoreboard. And we were just talking about how both Nasi and Shondex need a little bit of help here from the rest of the team, and you're starting to see it. I mean, back and forth, we're seeing that we have virtually identical frags across the board. That's why you're seeing a scoreboard currently on the defensive side, or currently on overtime, lighting up like it's Tanjiro's kimono. Always on a defensive wins.
Winthrop getting too comfortable with their smokes being up, and Ambrosia are just a little more passive compared to Winthrop, and how Ambrosia are ramping up, having Shondex swing through solo and putting such a dent into Winthrop was what made that whole round. And I love to see players get confidence in overtime, because sometimes you feel the pressure, you're in lower bracket, you play a little more scared, play more safe, and gotta really try and surprise Winthrop. But so far all the defenses are winning, so are we going for an OT record? Ooh.
Oh, and on the timeout, trying to push towards B to start, and that's where 3 players of Winthrop are.
Ali can still be safe. He likes to throw that flash on the other side of yellow box, and what?
Beautiful.
Satellite right through the heart of Infiltrator. Through the harbor wall and everything as they were poking out. Ah, jeez. His
That's another
defense still the
assist.
way to go.
Before it was Glyph breaking the turret. This time it's Welly with the drone spotting 2, making it easier for Satellite to get that pick. Out of the timeout, it's an attack side op.
Okay, the Nasi's gonna hear these walks, these steps. Got shock bolts. He's in his one and done spot. He's hoping Flare gets on the high ground quick enough, and Nasi holds his own, and he gets chased down. Winthrop are obscured by all the smokes. Pings for Winthrop to work with, but Ambrosia are just on fire with these shots. We just may finally see an offense win, folks. 1v4 for Moves. Okay, we're fumbling, but hey, if Moves would have got that second kill, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have locked in.
Would have been an instant, like, what, 1v1 towards the end for sure.
Match point.
Because that would have caught that second player. The op missed. He swivels to the other kill. I mean, that, yes, definitely was doable.
Thanks.
But Ambrosia now, series point. When they've had good successes on their retakes on the defensive side, this is looking grim here for Winthrop University. Hail Mary to work out towards the A side. Late lurk from Moobs trying to find a timing on middle again.
Kind of a different wall from Ambrosia. Like it looked like they could walk aggressively to deny, of course, Winthrop's Viper wall, but it's all a fake. It's droning up Winthrop, taking it one step at a time. With Moobs on the high ground, can watch over, try to get a peek over these smokes.
Standing ahead.
Swelly goes for a recon, immediately destroyed. Gecko flash out, Winthrop make the first move. Glyph, oh, stay steady against Infiltrator, but Winthrop are always there with trades. It's an army that stays together. Welly can round this corner to at least deny the wingman, stay as safe as he can as rotations are still coming over from the peak side, and Welly took a risk, he got aggressive. The plant still being attempted by Winthrop. Gets away as Shondex catches the elbow. Still gets it up against Moves. There's the shock bolt against the backline. They may not know how close Shondex really is. And Korean is built different in overtime. The Cove to try and go for a defuse. At least fake it. Get it halfway. The Cove is down. It's a 1v1 and just Flare remains. And the overtime continues.
The protocol, once again, I thought it was over. It was very similar to what we've seen in the past when Ambrosia is trying to hold the defense for these wingman plants over on the side of Generator. Nanoswarm always set up at the bottom there for Sean X to start. You have a player playing all the way back to instantly get the drop on the wingman, and then they just win on the flood retake in the lane that he did. And I think it's right here. After Glyph gets that first kill, he should have fell back. He should have fallen back. Because with him just trying to pop the smoke and he actually covers the sepsis flare himself, it just allows here for Winthrop University to move through. When Welly's just by himself at the back of the site, is forced to make a hero play and whiffs that 1v1 after dropping the wingman.
And what's more stressful, this overtime for playoffs or a midterm? Winthrop, let me know. Jesus. I'm on the edge of my seat. Ambrosia on the edge of the B side. Glyph with a big two, the cutoff in mid. And trying to recollect things is Infiltrator, just clipping the wings of Glyph as Shondex has to readjust. Where is Infiltrator? Lost and found. It's only Winthrop that look lost. Now through the pit. Good luck searching, Moves. At least he'll have the perimeter. But now he has to find that darn Viper. Glyph is low, but the assist from Ambrosia is too strong.
Tried to go for the tap there against Acreon and somehow just gets the headshot through the box against Glyph. I mean, that'll be the silver lining there after he just got owned on that 1 versus 3. But what a nice little lurk by Glyph at the beginning of this round. Finally giving a chance here for Ambrosia to give Winthrop University a taste of their own medicine. Quick timing, quick push down towards middle, walking down towards orange. That has never been done in the past here on the side of Ambrosia, and capitalizes into a round. And once again, Ambrosia have a chance to close out the series. But it was heavily defensive sided on the on this OT. Now it's the attack side that's taking the upper hand.
First 4 rounds of OT were all defenses. Last 3 rounds have been all offense. Ambrosia just needs one final defense to send Winthrop, a top 3 team, with the best of collegiate, packing out of playoffs. And it's Welly that stays steady and stoic as Winthrop, at least with smokes, will slow things down as the recon shot multiple shots from Winthrop. You know they're still hanging around. And this moves where it all relies on him, but he's caught by KJ Util. His tracks are covered for now, but he's taken critical damage. And Ambrosia are covering their bases, but A is open.
Yeah, Moobs looks like he wants to meet up with his team. He doesn't want to go for the 1v1 against Glyph that was trying to walk down towards pipes. So a 4 versus 5 plant going down. 2 players heavily injured on the side of Winthrop.
Spike planted.
Infiltrator is still trying to be forward despite how low he is, and had the updraft, checked out screens, now takes a safer position further back. Watching that flank too is Moobs, and he's going to encounter Glyph very soon, while the other 4 of Ambrosia in push from the front. And this is Winthrop on their last life. It all depends on Moobs, the alley, the counter stratting, the Gecko pocket pick, and it's all over. Ambrosia move on to the top 4.
Labored fight towards the end, but unfortunately, once again, a fake comeback on that second map. And then it's Ambrosia closing out the deal. And of course, Nock